that mirror, which suggests that you might see W7M change over to the Twitch again to help deal with that.
I'd expect to see Volts potentially out in the map a little bit. We've spoken at length about this site and the way that the defense of it has evolved away from being a turtle strategy down on site. We tend to see ourselves now getting more out into the map, trying to hold top floor, mid floor before pushing back down. And I think that's probably going to be the case with Volts on the Mozzie. He's got the pests keep the drones away from him. Got the cap can.
Have they spotted it? I don't think they did. So what's happened there during the prep phase is Lagonis has stayed hidden for about 30 seconds. He's just sat tucked in, inside between the little barrels and shown nothing. He's sat on drones. He's been protected largely by the help coming out from Volts on the Mozzie as well to deny away that information in the hope that we wouldn't see W7M go over to bring in a Thatcher. And truthfully, it was only with a few seconds to go that JB92 changed over and brought the Thatcher. Prior to that, they didn't have it in the lineup, so either they've seen him literally last second as he's stepped up to get reinforcing or what, I don't know. But it was a very much a last second change and they almost got away with it, Tim. Really smart stuff.
Certainly did. Resets is going to be taking the challenge out onto the main garage door. There's not going to be any more pressure coming from there as we see W7M just dipping away from that location. They've got the phantom pressure, they've opened it up and they're happy to just deal with that and move around, try to start pushing rear. They're going to find an opening. Nade, KZ managing to take down Volts, and that is a good start for W7M. Nesk, he needs to hold on here. One's coming from the right, but he doesn't support his teammate. He does, however, get two in response, and that is going to bring us back to a 3 versus 3.
All that hard work by W7M in the early round completely undone by Nesk. But as we said so many times, we've seen him get 2-3 kills in a round, and W7M still managed to find a way back into the game. So let's not count them out just yet. There's still a 3 versus 2. Still plenty of chances to close things out, but I can't ignore those 2 C4s in the back pocket of Team Liquid, Tim.
Exactly that. You've got to keep your eye on them. There are some destructible surfaces that it looks like W7M will be playing onto soon when they try to go for the hatch, try to push through lobby potentially. It could be that they get caught out by one of them, but it's going to have to be very precise from Team Liquid. Only 2 of them left inside of sight, and they may well choose to hold on to those explosives so later in the round to stop any potential plant attempts.
Digging deep at this point and look to play behind that C4. It's such powerful and critical utility. It feels like W7M are getting things done here. They had a minute and a half still to play with, so they're certainly in no rush. Both hard breachers getting busy, making use of the breaching charges as well. Now just trying to identify exactly where these last 2 members are. There's one inside of blue, there's one tucked inside of wine. They'll have had that now because you just heard there a second ago a couple of shots to destroy a drone inside of the other site. They know where these last 2 are, and that's what they're looking to try and make a push happen behind.
And they've got an age of time, realistically, to do it. When they've gathered all that information, 40 seconds to go, but Lagonis with a very important kill. It's going to force Nade into a position of trying to put the diffuser down. Nesk looks to move in, gets one. It's an important one. Oh, get the second, though. It's all up to Lagonis. Diffuser is down on the ground, activated, so he's against the clock. 31 seconds, so it's not a major problem yet. He's going to take a tick of the diffuser just to see if he can bait Nade back in. Nade does not want to take this fight. As being on such low health.
No, that's the thing. I think if it comes to a straight-up shootout, he likely loses this one against Lagonis. Here he comes. No! Lagonis not looking the right way. And Nade does win it out. He beams Nesk. He kills Lagonis. He gets the plant down. Does it all himself there. Is he going to be this map's hero for W7M?
I think Lagonis was obviously very conscious of the hard left there towards game's door, but whilst you're moving up those stairs, it's still a brick wall in front of you. There's nobody that can really challenge you from that direction. You know, there's only one way to have your gun pointed, essentially. I think we'll see it as the final highlight, potentially. That's going to be just after the diffuser goes down, but if you look there, he is very much positioned towards that brick wall coming up those stairs. And really, the only place the challenge can come from is towards the lobby.
A real bugger, and it goes back to what we spoke about in the early round. I feel like I'm doing this a lot today, digging up things we've already spoken about, because it reinforces the point. But as we said, Nesk can find 2 kills and beam people exactly as he did on Mezzanine. Getting 2 kills, balancing back to a 3 versus 3, but W7M just always find a way in those closing few kills to get the round done. In fact, a stat line I'd love to go and find out at some point. Maybe Fresh is interested in finding it out mid-series, I don't know. But digging into how many 3v3s potentially W7M have then pulled over the finish line, or 3v2s or 2v3s, whatever it looks like. After the first few kills have happened, who comes out the winner? Because I would wager W7M have won throughout this series 90% of rounds that look like that.
Bolt's just doing a little bit of renovation work still, opening up the angles from the top of mezzanine. It's actually going to be a kitchen defense this time around, so wanting to keep hold of top floor here, Team Liquid, and just giving themselves the angles and the opportunities that they might need to do so. We're going to have immediate attention up there from W7M, straight up onto the balcony on the bathroom side. Potentially going to be getting straight in there as the window's actually opened up for KZ, but he needs to be careful because the army of Nesk is watching over that. Going to use a keeper barricade just to block off the potential entrance point, and Nesk wanting to lock into this area for as long as possible.
It's a smart bit of bait play because the idea there on the spray coming from down below, the defensive side of Liquid would have seen the bullets coming from down low and just thought, oh, okay, someone's outside and down. Maybe we can peek this window and try and find the guy who's about to no doubt head up the ladder. So Casey was kind of there to capitalize on that. It was like the counter bait coming through, but this army does not bite. Nesk a little bit too wise to the antics of W7M, clearly.
It's just again offering rotation options. Going to open this up, but we'll be able to move around and get to the office door, for example, just preventing the flank coming through the rotation that's been opened by himself. But needs to be careful because bullets have been sprayed through that soft wall. So obviously a bit of information for Liquid there, just telling him exactly where the push is coming from W7M. They are aware of it. We see the breach onto site opened up there in the picture-in-picture as well. So that just gives us an idea of what's going on below and the stage that W7M are up to.
They put a keeper barrier down on that little hole that he shot out as well, so they can keep on playing inside of Office, because realistically, Office is the ground that Team Liquid need. They need to be able to deny the vertical on towards site below. They find one for themselves into a second. They've got the control they need. Now, Nade and JV92 kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. They can't push on forward because of the vertical. Nade does win that vertical strike back and at least gives them a small chance here. But Tim, I feel the numbers are just too heavily in favor of Liquid.
You really would think so, especially with vertical control. But JV92 manages to take down Parlu. Is there an opportunity, you ask, for Nade to get inside a site here? Potentially start using some of those shields just to provide a bit of cover. Think about getting a plant down. 40 seconds left to go. It is something that's going to have to be thought about at some point. JV92 seeing another, but can't quite find the angle.
If they'd got that kill and made it a 2 versus 2, this would have been absolutely ludicrous. But either way, they've got to try and make something happen here. They've got to get a kill. They've got to make a play together. Leaving it down to the last 20 seconds, a little bit ropey as Ness finds one more. This feels like it should be Liquid's round here, and there it is. That style of play that I'm just a little bit nervous that it won't come quite as clear-cut as maybe they would like. Bar and Gaming, where we head to for round number 3. No frost on side is probably my most interesting observation about the round, Tim. Very used to seeing that brought along with a shield on side, but Liquid instead doubling down behind mirror windows, and the Azami, they have got no shields on side. Feels like madness when you think about the site front.
It does, realistically. Bar and Gaming, it will be. And again, as you say, the shields would usually be used for the top of blue stairs, for example, just outside the library door, and also on mezzanine as well. They've got the mirror window there, so it's as if they are planning on playing those positions. But I think the thing to watch out for at home, you know, that you can keep a track on in this round is how easily is library cleared. Do Liquid lose players up at the top of there? That is just a mirror window given away far too easily to a Twitch drone.
Yeah. Again, it just feels so oppressive, the Twitch coming up against the mirror. Unless you have ways of really well protecting these mirror windows, or if they're dug deep inside of sight, it's just so difficult to keep them alive, as we've seen countless times throughout the competition. I think back to Eminem's game the other day, and the double mirror window kill on Fountain, for example, on the player that got inside with the shock drone. Just a real death sentence for a mirror when you're up against a Twitch.
Where will JV92 appear? That is the question. He's got himself into the basement. You know, he's going to work his way up a set of stairs somewhere, but the question is, which one will it be? If he tries to come up the library stairs, for example, and get himself in close to sight, it could be a real danger for the side of Team Liquid. I think he knows he's being hunted down in the basement. If he just holds on here, there could be a kill as this continues. They've gone into blue corridor. It's surely going to be a freebie coming around the corner. No, they're aware, but he gets one. Is he going to get the second? He knew the challenger was coming, but no, Lagonis is there for the trade, and that's better from Liquid. That's better teamwork. And better for Liquid as well. You've removed the Capital with the smoke bolts and the fire bolts in exchange for the Melusi. As I touched on earlier on, a one-speed who, once those Banshees are deployed and out in the field, only real value she adds is a gun, but the Capital would add so much more. So definitely a worthwhile kill coming out for the side of Liquid. Now trying to work their way through this top floor is the side of W7M, though. Drones in. Terro's been deployed earlier on. They've really tried to march their way through some of the utility clear that they need to.
And now it's starting to think about that execute as we get towards the final 60 seconds of this round.
KZ going to be sending the Rotero drone on in to move Mira out of position there. KZ is able to pick up the kill onto resets. That's beautiful teamwork coming in from W7M to create this space where Nade goes in and sticks the diffuser. I'm not sure Liquid were aware. If they were, they certainly weren't able to challenge. Palu managing to find KZ, 3 versus 3. 30 seconds left for Liquid to do something about this. Palu does have a little bit of a vertical advantage here. He can potentially offer a little bit of cover. What a double birds though to close that out as Felipox picks up the last and W7M hold on to another attacking round.
Very naughty, making use of that barricade down low too. Sees the feet, sprays high, gets the head of both before they really...
Yeah, I mean, they're getting further every time. Well, they're on the main stage this time.
You know, I was joking to Nello yesterday. I won't go into what it was about the conversation, but I joked that they'd never be able to win SI. And then before he looked like he was about to punch me, I said, but you are growing from major to major. You're making it onto the stage. You're pressing further and further forward. Things are looking up for them, but that final might still be a bit of a way away. Seeing how scary teams like W7M are once they're sat here as well. It's another one of those rounds that Liquid looks in a pretty good spot to be able to still be competitive, and then W7M just charge their way through.
You look back at this, the whole tournament, and you see W7M playing like this and dominating the final as they are, and you look back to that first game that they played and you just think it almost seemed inevitable, and it was that first game that changed so many people's minds about just exactly what to expect from W7M coming into this tournament, and the fact that actually, you know, those roster changes haven't taken their foot off the gas for a minute. They are still hyper-focused and extremely capable of winning one of these major international events, and right now they sit on the very brink of that.
This time around we have got the Frost on side. I mentioned it being missed out earlier on. It's of course an entirely different side, but still the use of the shields very, very valuable. Just the one I'd imagine we're going to see pointed down from Piano down towards the south side. Lagona's ready to challenge out towards this balcony. It was KZ who was here earlier on. Looks to be the same once again. Palu starting out in JV. As two come flying in, they've got no idea that Resets is holding off on the stairs. I'm pretty sure he knows that one more's inside a trophy, as well as Felipox tries to march his way in. Will find one, but I'm pretty sure he gets caught out by an impact there, Tim.
He's going to be down by that, leaving him effectively now, or completely and utterly in a 1v4 as Palu manages to pick up that final kill of the downed Felipox. KZ going to be heading inside of Library then, looking to see if he can improve this story of round 4 somewhat, but it's unlikely. He's holding the tight angle, sees what he thinks is a man through there, but doesn't pick up any damage onto the side of Liquid, and continues going, and it's managed to take out
he tickles bolts with that as well. He hits
very tight angle.
The fact that he tickled bolts always some damage on that is just hilarious. They couldn't find him at any point prior. Ness with the closeout. 2 and 2, Tim. Things pulled all square once again. Liquid keeping pace at W7M at least this time around.
Yeah, it is hard fought, but the thing that I'm focusing on here is this is a W7M map pick, and they have still got to move into the defensive half. We do often expect the attackers to...
I love it.
Love to see it.
I'm looking forward to being able to grind some Siege after the event, Tim.
Oh, I always am. Every time I get out of an event, it's like a week of solid ranked.
You fancy yourself the next pro, so you're like, I want to get back and play.
That's what it is. You've seen all these strategies, you've seen all these tactics, and then you go and play and it doesn't really pan out.
No. You see someone like, I don't know, Cyber or KZ or Nesk on the Yana, they're just like holding an angle about the crosshair. You're like, yeah, I can do that. And then you turn out your reaction times are probably 10 times slower than theirs. Yeah. You just can't quite deliver.
100%. 100%. Round 5, it will be then 2-2 at the minute. W7M Team Liquid. W7M 2 maps to 0 up in this best of 5. And that's the concern for Team Liquid here, Des. It feels competitive within Chalet, which it is, but W7M have got to go onto the defense yet, so Liquid are going to have to take that teamwork to another level. We've seen it sort of improve a little bit so far here on Chalet, but it's going to have to really ramp up if they want to take the second half of this. And every round that W7M gets just puts more and more pressure on Team Liquid as well, because it's that one step closer to it being over again, to the dream ending again.
That's it, and you managed to get a pull off a comeback here and start shaping things back up to your side. Trying to burn through the clock here. I think he charges in. Going to have to force Lagonis away. Unchallenged entirely. Not even someone on the downstairs window. And he's out of dodge in one piece. Palu is not.
Palu will be taken down as the opening kill. Managed to pick up the opening kill last time himself, but this time not going to be so lucky. JB92 finding Volks on a rotate, 5 versus 3. Nesk once again fighting back. So many of these round fightbacks have started with Nesk, but they just cannot dislodge Herds from on Library Stairs. He gets one at the bottom, one at the top. Absolutely unstoppable right now. Lagonis finished off inside, and you just feel like W7M, they're picking up momentum, they're like a boulder rolling downhill.
Just picking them apart layer by layer as well. 2 players being chased through the map there as well by the side of W7M and giving them no room or recourse to even pause and breathe. And then from there, you mentioned Herds on Library Stairs, just deleting them lower and upper. No real contest. It feels like that was Liquid trying to scatter back towards site, play safely, and W7M just had everything in mind. They knew where they were going to be. They knew to hunt them down in the process. A very well-controlled round.
Just seeing the defensive Library Stairs from Herds there, he did a wonderful job, and then Filipok's able to close things out. W7M just very slowly growing round to round at the minute. Liquid, they need to level this one up, I think. Get it 3-3 at the half, and at least send a message that W7M are going to have to fight if they want that title. It's going to be kitchen and dining this time around. We had a good top floor defense from Liquid last time. It was round 2. They were able to win. Ness got a couple of kills up there on the top floor, but his talismanic leadership in this game, whilst it has been present, I feel there's a lot of the best moments for Liquid have fallen to either Lagonis or Nesk. It's just not been enough to drag everybody else into it in the way that they need.
Completely agree with you, yeah. Now, coming into this round, we're going to see a very similar one, I imagine, to last time. That being the W7M want to get control of Mezzanine and open up the office double wall. The reason for that being is you don't want to get challenged from above. So you want to get this opened up, you want to get JV92 in place to get a couple of air jabs down and lock members of Team Liquid away from trying to pull off a flank, and then look to get the actual dining room wall open itself, and then look for a plant inside a site, making use of the flashes, of any potential smokes on side, of which there are none, so no, they're not going to. But really, it all starts with that top floor control. However, Reset's already being challenged quite aggressively here on the north side.
Herds on the Ash working across that top floor. He needs to be careful because it is Ness that he's going to run into. Ness, again, as I said, is showing a great mastery of that piano position last time around. Herds just putting the brakes on a little bit. He's got the ground that he wanted to. The Rotero is going to open up that piano window, I think it was. That's just going to give Nesk a little bit more vulnerability, but he has keeper barricades to spare, so he's just going to fire one of those in there and make sure that he is still covered from that position. Half of the round burnt at the minute without the top floor even being nudged by W7M.
KZ does keep on throwing these Roteros in towards Ness, though, so he has to keep on rotating through these different Azami keeper barriers to try and keep himself safe. Although the looks of it, they've just said, yeah, you know what, we're not winning that battle of attrition. Let's just get out of dodge, move back a little bit further north. The danger here, Tim, being they've conceded control of office, which is what you want to be retaining as the defenders. Otherwise, the vertical control is there for the attackers, and you as defenders can do nothing on site except pull back.
It manages to get that breach open onto site, so that is plant spot acquired now. They will be able to potentially move in, but where is Ness going, Des? He's got himself down into the basement. There's an opportunity here for him to potentially push up those main stairs and really hurt any attempt to get in through that breach. Yeah. I don't think W7M have confidently got control of top floor either yet, and it's just looking a little bit like they might stall out here. 50 seconds left to go, and they maybe think they're in a position to just push on in. Herds does pick up Lagonis. Nid, he's aware of Ness now. That bullet shot is going to force the defender away, and W7M, their time might be now.
I was going to say, realistically, for Nade, if he comes in through lobby, he's got a challenge on towards the lobby stairs, but also out towards lower library stairs. That's 2 angles that Team Liquid retook there to be able to contest him. That's why you've seen a full retake over towards the north side. He's going to start out in solar and look to work his way down the stairs for a direct push in towards kitchen. This could catch Liquid off guard if they aren't fully aware, and if they weren't aware, they certainly are now. Casey marches in for 2. Nesk beams 1, as we've seen him do all day long. Transfers onto another. pressure. It's a 1 versus 2 as JV, the only one still left on his feet here. Gonna try and get his teammate up so they can try and hold this angle, but the backstab comes in. Liquid just a little bit too mobile for W7M.
Liquid with their backs to the wall were able to get their foot on there and push back in a hard way. Des forced themselves out of a dangerous situation. Volps with a huge play at the top of West Main Stairs, just able to really swing the momentum for Team Liquid. At least level things up, 3-3 on the half.
Woo, another 3-3, Tim. We had that on the previous map.
We did?
How
did that map turn out?
I know. It's at least a positive sign that Liquid have warmed into things. We touched about that first map, 5-1 half, seemed invisible for those first 6 rounds. On Bank, things looked a little bit better. On Chalet here, they're looking okay as well. I think probably what stings a bit is you don't necessarily feel convinced that they can drag it back. Clearly they've got the capability and we know that, but you just don't know what you're going to get from them in the second half, right? It's the same story once again where Nesk is popping and playing incredibly well, but the rest of the team around him, you know, Parlo especially is the name everyone's going to look at, not rising to the occasion alongside him.
The thing is now for Liquid, I don't know, Des, whether it's even about them. W7M have got such a lead now. You know, they are 4 rounds away from winning this whole thing, from winning the major title. There's not really a huge effort that they have to make. Liquid have to force them to win this, because otherwise W7M will win it by attrition. They'll just pick up a round here and there, and eventually they'll get it done and over the line. So we need to see, like we did on that first map, another instance where Liquid come out and get 2, 3, 4, 5 rounds back to back and really start putting W7M to the sword and putting some pressure on them.
I completely agree. We'll see if that pressure comes out on the attacking half here of Chalet. I'll go back to my comments from Mat 1, 2 halves to a game of Siege. You may see a very different next few rounds or so from either team. Volps is the one who's trying to be a little bit cheeky, hanging around the bottom side of Trench, looking up towards West Main. Maybe hoping there's a rotate to come through from a member of W7M through the basement, but as it stands, they're all skyward. They're all up on the top floor, not down here in the basement. Oh, this is cheeky.
This could be an interesting play. Volps is ready to go here.
Okay.
You can see he's got to use the lip that's available into dining. Going to go straight into sight. He doesn't have the diffuser in hand, and he maybe not have a chance, but he does manage to find a kill. Nesk actually picking up both. It's going to be Volps taken down, and somehow yet again, Des, W7M are able to fight back. It's 3 versus 1. How on earth did they turn that around? Lagonis, he manages to get one. He's going to have to come up clutch for Liquid once again. 1 versus 3 becomes 1 versus 2, becomes none at all, as Herds is able to get that final kill for W7M, and they are 1 round closer yet again, despite the heroics from Nesk at the beginning of the round.
I feel we could have said that to probably 50% of the rounds in this final so far, Tim.
Yep.
It must be heartbreaking, not just to be a fan, but a player of Liquid too. I think we all stayed to hope to maybe see Nesk and Parlo do it, my friend, but it feels like a bit of a stretch maybe for Liquid this time round. They'll be denied yet again, waiting maybe even 6 years at this rate for that potential elusive second win at a competition. It's just again that we've seen Nesk pop, find a couple of kills, W7M slam back in response. There's always someone there ready to respond, Tim.
This is it, and Volps got into such a good position essentially quickly, and you felt that there wasn't really a chance for him because they saw him come up the hatch. The challenge was there immediately, but then Nesk was on the cover, got the kill, and gave Volps, he created space for Volps inside of sight. But then, on the long angle, W7M just had plan B, and they fall back into these plan Bs, plan Cs so quickly and smoothly that it makes it so difficult to keep on top of them.
Really, really difficult. Here we go though with another defense, different side this time round. Looking in towards the mirror for JV being matched, as we've seen throughout the series by the Twitch on the other side, with Volts bringing that one along. Saw quite a bit of success from Nest previously playing on this operator with the shock drones and moving away mirror windows. We'll see, of course, if Volts can have a similar amount of success on it, conscious of the window flank that has been shot out, rightly so, as there was a player sat inside of the bath.
Start feeling as if it's now or never for Liquid as 1 round slips away.
Oh,
and the body block!
blocked.
The body block comes in from the Azami, and that prevents that mirror window being opened up, and it's just another another element to W7M's game that they're able to do the right thing at the right time. I want to give them all the credit that they are due, Des, because at the minute for me, they are looking like the complete Siege team. Nade is going to be taken down but not out as he tries to move away from that barricade, and that is at least an advantage for Liquid, but he's likely to be collected here as KZ will take the opportunity.
Yeah, KZ the hero as well, because he's on the Izami. He can block off the window and make it safe to be able to get his teammate back up. And things can resume. They find the response. JV specifically on towards Bulbs. That's the twitch off the board. It's 2 smokes offline as well, which is a real stinger. KZ onto Lagonis. He's going for the next and finds Nesk as well. KZ will not be stopped this map, Tim.
A flawless round here is on the cards. 1 versus 5. There's only resets that can stop it. There's always the possibility of that clutch coming through, but you know that it's slim, and it will indeed be that flawless round for W7M. Des, 1 step at a time. They are moving towards that trophy, towards the title of the winner. Feels different.
It's a real heartbreaker because I know the timeouts come in, I think, maybe, I want to say at the right time, but really you felt it building in the last round. They just look like they've beaten themselves, looking like mentally like checked out a little bit. Again, things can start strong, but they just don't have that composure. I wonder if he's still in his suit or not.
I think he is.
Surely he is.
We head
knowing him, I won't be surprised if he just ripped everything off when he was done and that was that.
Don't encourage. We head towards round 9 then. This could be the slippery slope for Team Liquid. W7M, Des, for me, the difference here between what we're seeing from W7M now and maybe at other tournaments, and whether the roster changes have created this or not, there's another gear. It feels like there's just been another gear for them, and they've saved it for the final. And they've come in here and they've just been absolutely single-minded and just so focused on getting this done and over the line, on finally winning that title. You do start to wonder, you know, what will be next to W7M if they win this. It's an exciting thought.
Well, it's in building, right? As we said before, in the last year alone, they've had 3 top 4 finishes. They finished second at SI. Yeah, it's clearly been building up to this point. And what I love is that a year ago, being honest, I barely heard of most of the players on the team. And I was like, wow, who are these guys coming out winning 3 straight Brasileiro stages in a row? Well, this really appeared and took the world by storm.
This is the thing. Back in 2020, W7M was still playing inside of the Brasileiro, but it was all about Furia, really. It was Furia and W7M that were sort of battling with each other to be like the next team that came through. And it was Furia who sort of came out.
Oh, yeah.
But W7M then, like you say, 2021, they hit their stride and haven't stopped since.
They were like 9th, I think, at the end of 2021 in stage 3, and it was like, oh, who are these guys? Next stage, oh, we finished first, and we're
going to Copenhagen Major.
We lose 1 map, we go 7-1-1. They were absolutely unstoppable. It was terrifying. Next, they get recovered here as well, so stays on side for now with those 2 nades still brought back into play. Interestingly seeing resets as well. Moving over to playing the Nook, but with the EMP grenades in back pocket, not the frags.
No chance of Nade himself being brought back into play. He was picked up as the entry death there. The mute going. Not the end of the world. The jammers will be down. The utility will be used.
Being silenced.
The mute being silenced. Indeed. Smooth. Smooth.
Thanks, mate.
Resets wanting to move into main lobby. They are attacking onto basement here. It's going to be down in the garage, but just conscious. I like the setup. The dining wall's been partially opened, and it's making Liquid very nervous about getting themselves inside a main lobby.
Everything just feels like it's squaring up here for a Liquid execute. Again, I'm always nervous to get too excited given how the last few have gone, but they are ready and waiting, just getting themselves in position on blue. We've got a couple watching on the breach, and there's resets. He was the one watching in through that main breach, a real kind of contender in towards sites itself. Herd still tucked in tight, KZ into a second, looking almost for a third, but not quite able to collect.
W7M inch closer and closer towards the championship point opportunity that they have been fighting for. Palu, he's trying to work his way down into blue. He knows it's a 2v4. The time is ticking down. He has to make a move. He makes it, but the trade is there. Time after time after time for W7M. They take themselves onto 6. They are told to keep themselves calm, keep the energy level, because they know what could be coming here on Chalet.
I don't want to call it a cast a curse, but again, it's still, even in a 5 versus 4, with them getting set up for the execute, it's hard to get too excited, because we've seen so many come this way. I hope to God you didn't bet your house on a Liquid win.
I think after the history with Liquid, it's always a difficult gamble on them in the final, isn't it?
As I said so many times, you know, 5 top 4 finishes in the last 5 years, just not able to get it over the finish line since the middle of 2018, and that wait for Liquid fans painstakingly have waited for half a decade. It looks like they may have to keep on waiting. W7M 3-0 so far on the defensive side, could be taking us into what looks like our last round here at the Copenhagen Major.
Going to be trying to hold on to Library here, KZ. Just look at that, 2 ADSs down. You know he's staying in that corner, or somebody is. They're not going to be giving it up. Frostmat's inside of the window. Laser Gates on the double window as well. They are going to be holding on tight to Library. Don't want to be letting it go. Don't want that vertical control given up. W7M here, they know what is in front of them. Are they going to be able to close this out here and now?
Feels like it's building towards that for sure. But now we're going to see how Liquid set up once again. For me, I'm less concerned about the setup and much more about the execution when it comes down to it, though. For the most part, W7M have got all their players scattered either on or above the site itself. One, as you saw a second ago, KZ lurking off up towards Piano and Solar side, has slowly started to work his way back down to join the rest of his team. Hertz is the one they've got to worry about on Mez, liking the use of the keeper barriers here as well, both inside of Library and out on Mez itself, to make himself even more secure. We've seen a couple of varieties of things like mirror windows used out on Mesh. Now you've seen the keeper barriers come through. We've seen shields used. So several strategies being rolled in here to constantly keep the attacking team asking questions on how they can break through these setups. Oh, they know he's in the corner.
Certainly.
This is always dangerous.
The problem is, quite often you will know that they are there, but how do you move them? How do you get that utility into the position it needs to be? You've got laser gates to fight through, you've got ADSs to battle with, and JV92 is going to be keeping himself in position for as long as possible. The laser gate has been disabled on the double window, so there is an opportunity potentially for nades to come flooding in. Volts just holding an angle at the time being, trying to just get in there and do anything. He's thinking about top Library stairs, but he can't really risk it until Library's taken out. It's this 3 corners of the defense. There comes 1 kill and 2. They managed to fight back with 1 clearing out Library stairs. 2 versus 4 now.
Oh, that's all they've got to do is find these last 2. It's all that stands between them and the silverware they have been chasing for so long. Parley rounds in, down he goes. It looks like there's 1 left standing. It's Volps against his old team. It could not be any more bittersweet. He'll step forward and see what he can find. They know exactly where he is, but this one feels like it might be about done and dusted, Tim. 50 seconds left on the clock, and they are just waiting, inviting him into the Viper's pit.
He's just going to be trying to use any angles he can here, try and find himself a cheap kill, maybe a vertical. The camera's going to give his location away. He's coming down to 30 seconds. 30 finds one. Can he find any more?
And he's got to get an ace to be able to pull it all the way back. That's even more ludicrous for Leapox and Nade. Left standing. They see the longer angle. It's the 1 versus 1 of a century. Who wins it out here? Volt's down to a slither of HP as we enter the last 20 seconds.
He's got the diffuser in hand, he can move in. Des needs to find kills though.
I can't find